All right, so let me just move my little face so then you can see the screen. Okay, cool. So today's topic is solving 90% of problems with these daily habits, or how to implement daily habits to solve most of your problems. Because the thing is that a lot of the times in life we feel like we're struggling, and like there's these big, massive things that are clouding over our heads. But usually that's typically a result or a product of not doing small little things throughout the day. So let's say, for example, if you're in school and you had to go home and you had tons of homework, it's probably the result of not having done your work in school. So then they sent you home with it. Then if it builds up, it's because you just didn't do all the small little 10% to get it done. And then it builds up into this big thing at the end of it. So if we can track and get our daily habits locked in, hopefully that has a bigger impact on 90% of our problems, which may not actually be as big problems as we think. So first of all, we actually have to identify what the problem is before we can solve it. And that could look like these. So, common problems that people kind of stumble upon. And like, I don't want it to be like, oh my God, like my problem is eating, or my problem is not being able to get to the gym, or something like that. Like, these are psychological problems that actually kind of will pin into not being able to eat properly, or not being able to go to the gym, or whatever. So like things like fear of failure, limiting beliefs, procrastination, low motivation, whether you're impatient, you want that instant gratification, like you're not you're not thinking about the journey, you just want the end result. And then being like a perfectionist, which is something that I suffer with massively. So like these are psychological problems that will then have an impact on like the physical problems, which would be, as I said, like, maybe there's anxiety going to the gym, or like we've said about eating. Another one might be struggling to get out of the house to do your 10K steps. It probably falls under the categories of these things. So have a look at some of those. Think about what kind of categories that you fall in. For me personally, like something that I massively suffer with is being a perfectionist. Probably like a little bit of impatience. I love instant gratification. I want the end result. Like I don't think much of the journey. Um, that would probably be the main thing. And then procrastination comes across my head every now and then. So if I'm reflecting on it, that would kind of be my top three. But for you, might be low motivation, could be limiting beliefs, or it could be that fear of failure. A lot of people don't, strive towards their goal, or they don't start a goal because of the fear of failure, what people are going to say around them. So, and then another common problem is things like vague goals. If you don't know exactly what your goal is, then obviously, what's the point of even working towards it? You might have too many goals. You might be working towards too many things. So something that's like 101 for, like coaching, or as like a fitness coach. If you're trying to like gain muscle, lose fat, and then be functional at the same time, you just need to pick one and focus on one. So if it's weight loss, you just have to focus on that, do that really well. When you get towards your goal, or you've hit your goal, you then look at something else. Because you're thinking of the outcome, so again, kind of that instant gratification, and you don't have a visual reminder. So something that was really interesting, like as I was researching and I was making these slides, I fell across quite a few statistics, and one of them is, writing down a goal can increase the success of that goal by 42%. So not quite half, but you're almost, double likely, or 50% more likely to achieve a goal if you've written it down somewhere. A little side story: when I was 23 years old, I wrote a letter. No, when I was 21 years old, but I found it at 23. When I was 21 years old, I wrote a letter to myself in a journal saying that I wanted to be a personal trainer, I wanted to generate money online, and I wanted to have a YouTube channel where I was producing YouTube videos. I found that when I was 23, and I was like, oh my God, I do all of these things now. I post content on YouTube, like I'm a personal trainer, I'm like an online coach, and I help people with their fitness and their goals. I think a podcast was on there as well. And I had achieved those things. And that's something that I'd written down 3 years before. It had said by the age of 25, I will. And without having to consistently look at it, but because it was written down, I then achieve those things. So it depends on how much you want to believe in those types of things. But statistics say that the more you write it down, or if you write it down, then you're more likely to succeed. So if you're coming across here and your main goal is weight loss, and you want to be, I don't know, 70 kg, just write down, I will be 70 kg by X. If your goal is to get a promotion at work, I will be promoted, or at my annual review, I will be in X so I can bring this to my boss. Write it down and then have it as a visual reminder. Put it on the fridge, whatever, because you're more likely to succeed by doing that than not. So, how can we fix these problems? So again, we spoke a little bit about statistics, and we'll dive more into that. So there's three kind of major or like main tactics or strategies that you can use to kind of help fix some of these problems. So you need to identify habits that relate to your goal, but take only 2 minutes to complete. And so the goal here is to become someone who actually shows up and you're consistently hitting the 2 minute habit rather than always drowning in long hour tasks. As I said, for someone that has to go home with loads of homework, it's probably because they didn't show up and do the small 2 minute tasks throughout the day at school, and then they've come back with like hour-long tasks of homework. Um, so this is the 2 minute rule. I gave an example. So for someone who wants to do a pull-up, their 2 minute rule would be, I'm going to do 5 push-ups today. So it's that ability to be able to do something within 2 minutes, get it done, and actually celebrate it as well. Because that was another thing that I discovered. The more that you celebrate like a habit or an achievement, you're 50, I think it was around like 62%, but I'm going to say 50% more likely to also, one, stick to it and have it as like a long-term thing that you stick to. But two, yeah, you're also more likely to see success. So actually sticking to this long term. So find something that's going to take less than 2 minutes, add it into your daily routine, done. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in a little bit as well when I pull some statistics up. So first of all, you need to find a 2 minute habit. Then you need to start habit stacking. I've spoken about this before, so I don't want to spend too much time on it because sometimes it just feels like I'm like a repeating record. But the formula for habit stacking is after X, I will X. So this keeps it really simple. So after I boil the kettle, I'll do 20 squats. After I get out of my bed, I will do 10 push-ups. After I make my coffee, I will drink a glass of water. After I brush my teeth at night, I'll get my gym clothes ready for the next day. I'll lay it out on my bed. This is really, really important. And as you can see at the bottom, habit stacking versus standalone habits seen a 64% increase in success rates. And this study was actually done on busy people, so people that had like busy routines. People who actually stack their habits, 64% increase. And this isn't even including things like writing it down and then sharing it with a community and sharing it with people. This is just by having it stacked. It's a 64% increase in success rates. So if you want to have more liquid throughout the day, find a way that you can increase your water. So like before, so after I clock out for my lunch at work, I will drink a glass of water. After I finish my lunch at work, I will drink a glass of water. Or if you want to get stronger or you want to, be better at body weight movements, after I eat my lunch at work, I will do 5 push-ups. Find out what that thing is for you. I've given you some examples there, but once you stack it with something that happens on a daily basis, it becomes way more easy to stick to it. And again, you'll see success rates. So once you found something that's short and doesn't take too long, you then stack it and then you track it. So tracked habits are 36% more successful than those that aren't tracked. Because the thing is, if you're not tracking, then you just don't know where you're at. It's 62% more successful with group support, like I said earlier. And I think this is a really key one. So habits like drinking water are 61% more successful than people who have exercise as habits. Now, the thing that's important and kind of not in the text, but you need to listen to, is that exercise habits are typically very long. They're like, oh, okay, I want to do 2 workouts a day and I want to hit my 10K steps. It's a very big task, whereas drinking water is minimal. Again, kind of going back to that 2 minute rule, it doesn't take a long time. So it's way more successful than like these big, massive tasks. So I've just ended it there, like small habits are best. So if you do want a habit or to develop a habit that's exercise based, you need to keep it short. For example, if you wanted to do like a 12 or 10-minute run in the morning, it's not like a long exaggerated thing. Um, Maybe that is a bit far stretched because then you'd have to get your clothes ready and you'd have to develop more habits around it. But it's just small little things. Again, I think 5 push-ups or squats before kettle boiling, whatever. It's just short and sweet. So think about how that can apply to you and your goals. Now, none of this matters or makes any sense without action. So the most important things here, habits that are less than 2 minutes or take 2 minutes to complete, they need to be stackable. So use the formula after X, I will X. And then it has to be trackable, which is now what we'll go on to. So you have to do this. So if you're in a community and you're an active client, you need to message me 2 habits that you're going to commit to over the next 21 days. So it's 21 days. It's 66 days to form a habit. We're just going to track the next 21 days. I'll upload it onto the app and then we can track it on a daily basis. So I can customize and edit habits onto your fitness app. And then you just tick it as we go along. So I've done this with some clients, not everyone. So we can do that. Or if you want to change it up and not have everything on the fitness app, or if you're someone who's watching this externally, just message me the word spreadsheet, whether that be on WhatsApp, Instagram, whatever, and I'll send you a spreadsheet tracker. So this is something that I don't want to sound like it took me ages. It took me literally like an hour, but it's a spreadsheet tracker. So as throughout the days, you can tick off little boxes on a spreadsheet. It will show you like little graphs. It will tell you what your best habits are. It will tell you what your worst habits are. And over the next 21 days, you can track that and we can review it. Okay. Or there is always this option as well. You can do absolutely nothing and then just absolutely wasted your time watching this video. So, and this is one of those things as well. As I said, like action, everything requires action. You can listen to as many self-help videos or self-help podcasts. You can read as many books as you want. But unless you're actually willing to do something about it, it's never going to change. So here's your to-do list. Even if you're not in the community, even if you're not an active client, I can still send you a spreadsheet to help you out with your goals. And if you are in a community, you need to do these things. I can make it so clear and simple to you. I might even clip this and send it into the group chat. Do these things, and then we can make some progress, okay? So I'll wait. Yeah, I will wait because remember, the title of this video is that solving 90% of the problems that you probably face on a daily basis can be fixed with 2 or 4 habits every single day that take less than 2 minutes to complete. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you on Thursday for the next call. Cheers.